Hello everyone, good afternoon. This class, again, we are going to discuss one of the important topics out there and one of the PYQ that's been asked by the UPSC over and over again. And the topic for today's class is PDS, that is Public Distribution System out there. As you can see, subsidies, agriculture, MSP, PDS, it forms the core of agriculture out there. One of the most important topics that's favorite of UPSC out there. We're going to discuss this question in a very holistic manner out there. I'm going to give you points for this. I'm going to give you the international case study for this, and we're going to discuss this. And I hope you will get this and able to write a 250 quality answer over that. Let's begin with this. So this has been a question that's been asked in a PYQ in GS3 economy section. What's the question? Evaluate the performance of public distribution system in ensuring food security and what are the key challenges it faces today. Just think about it. Just do a certain amount of brainstorming out there and list certain points out there. You'll get a lot of points out there. So just take a moment and think about it. Then I'm going to discuss this as further. Okay. So I hope you have think about this and posted a certain amount of brainstorming over this. Let's go ahead. So when I talk about a public distribution system, it's considered to be as one of the key tools that ensures food security in a nation. And as you can see, India is a developing nation. There are a lot of people living below poverty line as well. So what you can do for them? Simple, sir. Provide them a malnutrition, provide them a nutrition over there to eradicate the malnutrition that they are facing right now. How are you going to do that? Of course, the subsidies is one of the examples for that. And PDS system is an ultimate tool where you can obviously fulfill certain amount of nutrition for these people that's been living below poverty line. Now, again, when you talk about the below poverty line, it's a very subjective thing out there in India because there is no standard BPL out there. A lot of committees has been established, the Dulkar committee and all these stuff that has prescribed a certain digit. But again, that's very subjective. It's not a nationalized system that you need to follow that. Okay. So let's begin with this. If I talk about a public distribution system, what's that? Sir, Indian public distribution system is the world's largest food security program and it's been recognized by WHO as well. It's been recognized by the WHO as well. If you can see, it's the largest socialist mechanism or welfare scheme that's been there in the whole world. And as you can see, of course, when you say 80 crore people depend upon the PDS system, you can see India is not a developed nation at this moment. It's a developing nation. What you can do, of course, is to provide a good quality food at a cheaper rate to them. That's how thing works. It annually distributes more than 60 million of essential food grains. 60 million, sir. That is 6 crore. Through a network of approximately 5,30,000 fair price shops. FPS is nothing, sir. It's a shop that provides certain grains at a subsidized rate to these public. It's a state-sponsored shops that's been there all around the country. And specifically, it's controlled by the state government, not by the center government out there. Okay. So, this vital initiative underpinned by the National Food Security Act provides subsidized rye, wheat and coarse grains, ensuring food and nutrition security out there. That's the three things that it provides through PDS. That's wheat, coarse grains and of course rice. Essentials of India. These are called the essentials of India. Okay. Let's move on to the next slide. So how does a PDS operate? Need to know about this as well. How does a PDS operate? So first of all, it's a central procurement out there. There are two types of procurement that a person particularly or a through PDS that. Hello everyone. Hello. So okay, let me give you an example. How a PDS system works. So it's like. So for example, this is a wheat and rice. Wheat and rice. This is how I'm going to explain you with a lot of examples out there. Okay, don't worry about that. This is wheat and suppose this is rice. This is wheat and this is rice. Let us suppose it's been procured by Food Corporation of India. It's been procured by Food Corporation of India. Food Corporation of India. It's a statutory body established by the law. Food Corporation of India. Food Corporation of India. after Food Corporation of India acquired this at MSP, at MSP, minimum support price. We're going to discuss this in a detailed manner in our upcoming classes. For now, you need to understand what's a PDS and how does it work. Food Corporation of India procure at MSP and later distribute it across the fair price shops, FPS. FPS. That's a state supported. State supported. State supported. State supported. FPS is there. Through FPS, these grains, wheat, rice or coarse grains are distributed in the form of public distribution at subsidized rate. At subsidized rate. This is nothing but a PDS, public distribution is carried out. This is how a chain works. This is how a chain works comprehensively. Sorry, sir, how to become an IAS officer? It's simple, by studying hard, by dedicating your prime years and studying what you call the syllabus of a UPSC out there. With dedication and with a lot of luck and dedication, you can clear that. That's how things work. That's how thing works. Okay. So let me get back to what the topic is. Okay, wheat and rice, it's been procured at MSP by Food Corporation of India. Through Food Corporation of India, it's been distributed across fair price shops that's been located across the state of the country out there, and through that, it's been distributed to PDS. It's been distributed to PDS. Now, sir, this is in a public distribution system. That's for BPL on all stuff. But, sir, PDS has also one of its target called TPDS. Targeted Public Distribution System. It's for Antyodhya, Anyojana, Antyodhya, Anyojana. That is, it's gonna provide 35 kg, 35, it's gonna provide 35 kg of ration, to people. Antyodhya means poorest of poor as well. Poorest of poor as well. So if I have to write this, what's Antyodhya? What's Antyodhya? It's been targeted to the poorest of poor. Targeted to the poorest of poor. What's that mean? Poorest of poor means, sir, of course, when I talk about the public distribution system, it's as simple as that. It's been there. It's a welfare mechanism out there. It's a socialistic mechanism out there. It's there to help those who are at the bottom of the pyramid out there. But, sir, again, people who are at the bottom of the pyramid, there are certain amount of people who are not even in the pyramid as well. I'm calling them as poorest of the poor. Even the poor within the poorest class out there. That's where this system comes. Antyodhya, Antyojana, that's been under PDS to obviously felicitate or in order to cater to these audience out there, that is the poorest of poor. How? By providing a 35 kg of ration per month. 35 kg of ration per month. गौरी सर, आईएएस का पावर क्या होता है? आईएएस का he is a DM out there. Start with career as a SDM, then obviously shifted to its gears to DM and all these secretary stuff all there. It doesn't about the power out there. It's all about the decision making, policy making out there that attracts people out there. So that's how things works. So if you are very interested in doing public service or policy making out there, you are someone who wants to work in a different department out there. You are not someone who wants to work in only one department out there. You want to work in agriculture, you want to work in commerce ministry or finance ministry, all that stuff, then IAS again is a very good option out there. A very good option out there in terms of diversification of work. I hope you got this. Let's move on to the next topic. I hope you got this, all this stuff chart, that how a PDS system works out there. That's how a PDS system works out there. Just take a screenshot or just note it down. It is the chain that how it functions. The chain that how it functions. Right. On to the next. Okay, now what are the challenges? Coming to the challenges. There is called central procurement. There is called central procurement. When central government procures directly to Food Corporation of India at MSP, it's called central procurement or decentralized procurement. What's a decentralized procurement? When when of course government asks certain state agencies to collect grains at MSP, that's called a decentralized procurement. So there are two types of central procurement. That's one is central, another is decentral. Another is decentral. Decentralized procurement. This center asks state governments or state agencies to collect food at MSP. Decentralized. Carry out a decentralized procurement system out there. Okay. Another thing what's going on is FCI storage and transport. There has been issues with FCI as well. There has been a lot of allegations for FCI that's a corrupt body out there, do a lot of leakages out there, all these stuff that's going on. So FCI has been branded as the epitome of corruption out there, And there are a lot of reasons for that. We're going to discuss this in agriculture out there, but again, we are discussing a PYQ. So I hope you got to that. There has been limitations for that. Okay. Food Corporation of India takes charge of large-scale storage, bulk transportation, and of these grains to various states. Now, sir, it operates like that. Central procurement happened, FCI storage transport, state distribution system. State like allocate grains and responsible to distribute through fair price shops. That's how thing works that we have seen in our chart as well. Beneficiary access subsidized food grains using ration card now largely digitized and linked with Aadhaar. As you know, because of digital India, a lot of ration cards has been linked. A lot of ration cards has been linked with the Aadhaar in order to evaluate the beneficiary out there, in order to exclude the exclusion error, and to obviously facilitate the inclusion system that's been there. I hope you got this how PDS operates. Instead of going through this PPT, it's obviously beneficial to look at the chart as well. So I hope you got this. Chart makes it easier to understand things, easier to understand all the technical stuff out there in order to. So of course, it's personally my choice to look into the chart, to use your hand as much as you can to understand a concept instead of just reading the PPT out there. Online reading, of course, reduce your productivity to a major extent out there. Online reading reduces your productivity. But if you just use your hand, use your notebook out there, or even the hard books out there, it particularly increases your efficiency as compared to the online reading. That's been my case. I just figure out what works for you. That's exactly what it is. If it works for you online reading, go ahead with that. If doesn't, move on. Okay, that's how thing works. Let's move on to the next thing. So what are the challenges that's been there with the PDS system? Okay. First is a food grade diversion. Let me give you an example. For this. So leakages has been a terrible problem for India. It's extremely difficult to tackle this problem. Leakages has been all around in the system. Leakages. How it operates, let me give you an example a real life example for this, how leakages operate. Leakages. So as you know that urea is a thing, it's called a fertilizer, and subsidy is given to the farmers over this. For example, if the market price is 20 rupees per kg for urea, the farmers will get 5 rupees kg as a subsidized price. For urea subsidy, it's been given at 5 rupees a kg to a farmer. It's been given 5 rupees. 5 rupees to a farmer. 5 rupees kg. Otherwise, the international price or the market price is nothing but 20 rupees kg, approx 20 rupees kg. But sir, as you can see, sir, our urea subsidy is 5 rupees. But the seller, is there any benefit for seller to do that? For a government agent to sell these at 5 rupees kg? No, sir. What he will do, he will divert this urea. He will divert this urea to international markets. He will divert this international markets out there, like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, at a price that is 20 rupees a kg. At a price that is 20 rupees. A seller is getting MSP. Oh, so not MSP. A seller is getting a subsidy from a government, but he's receiving a subsidy out there, but he's not selling it further to the farmer. He's getting a subsidy from a government, but he's not selling it further to the farmer. In spite of that, instead of that, he's diverting that urea to the international markets out there. He's diverting that urea to the international market, because at international market, he's going to get 20 rupees kg. So, seller, when I talk about seller, he's getting the subsidy from the government. He's getting the subsidy, coverage of market price, plus international market rates. A typical case of corruption and leakages. Out there. Let me explain this again once, because it's a technical out there. So here he's a seller out there. A seller. He sells urea out there, but the market price of urea is 20 rupees a kg. But he has been instructed by the government, okay, offer subsidy to the farmers and sell them at 5 rupees a kg. Offer subsidy to a farmer and sell them at 5 rupees a kg. Now, how he gonna recover that 15 rupees? He's gonna get this 15 rupees as a subsidy amount by the government. Gonna get subsidy amount of rupees 15 given by government. Again, he's given this subsidy of 15 rupees by the government only if he gonna sell this to the farmers at 5 rupees. But sir, he class player out there. What he gonna do? He'll not send this. He'll divert that urea to international markets out there. To international market out there. And the international rate is again 20 rupees a kg. Again, he's getting a profit from the both ends, right from the government as well as from the international markets out there. He's in gain. Who is at loss? Farmer is at loss, because there will be a shortage of urea out there for him. Who is getting a loss? Government is getting a loss. And if government is getting a loss, trust me, taxpayers are also getting a loss, because they are paying taxes for the welfare of the people that's been living in the bottom of the pyramid, but that's not been applicable out there. The implementation has not been correct out there. So seller is gaining out there from the government and from the farmer, but there has been a loss for the farmer, there has been a loss for the government, and there has been a loss for the taxpayers' money out there. That's the whole scenario out there that you need to understand in order to figure out what's been going on with the leakages in the subsidy market. So I hope you got this point. I have made my point extremely clear out there in a very simple language. It's very layman terms language that I'm using, and I often use mathematical expression in order to make you understand how economics work. That's what my forte is. I hope you got this. I hope you got this point. Let's move on to the next. What's the challenges of PDS quality and operational benefits? There has a lot of been challenges. I've just explained you just one example out there. That's a food in diversion. Just like urea. You can relate this example with urea out there. out there. Inclusion errors. Studies conducted before the 2015 reforms indicate that approximately 25 of ineligible households were accessing TDS benefits training system. So as you have seen in the UPSC as well, there has been a fake certificate case that's been going on in Pooja Khetkar. There has been a fake OBS, there have been a fake EWS certificates, all sort of scams, allegations that's been there on a UPSC out there. This is not a new thing out there. It's been going on since before 2015, since ages, I would say. What? Because people have access to the fake certificate, fake ration card to get the access of this PDS system. So for example, if this PDS system across PDS system is going on, a certain well-off person will come with a fake ration card. Well-off person with a fake ration card with a fake ration card. Gonna buy all these stuffs at rupees 1 rupee kg, 2 rupee kg. Buy that in bulk and sell that at operational market. Sell at operational market. So it's just a business system. Buy at subsidized price, sell at operational market out there. Sell at operational market. Again, I'm going to give you an example for this. Suppose this is a PDS system. This is a PDS system. That's a fair price shop out there. PDS system, that's a fair price shop out there. Fair price shop. And it's selling what? Rice, wheat, and coarse grains out there for 3 rupees a kg, 2 rupees a kg, and 1 rupee a kg. A certain well-off man came. Well-off man. Affluent family. But because of his resources, he get a fake ration card. Get a fake ration card. Suppose he purchases rice, 3 rupees a kg, which is actually out there, and sells this at market for 3 rupees a kg. What's the net profit? What's the net profit out there? What's the net profit? Net profit would be net profit would be 50. That's a business strategy well of people. So again, I would say it's an exploitation of a system, exploitation of loopholes. Exploitation of loopholes out. Exploitation of out there. That's how thing works in the subsidize or corruption has been there in the system. System is not efficient out there. Leave people out there. The system is not efficient. It's not functioning effectively out there. Why it's not functioning effectively? Of course, because state, I would say the state officers, the bureaucracy, efficient out there, loses interest after getting into the services, and of course, because they're not doing their work appropriate manner. They don't know the technicalities. They're journalists out there. They don't know exactly what's happening with agriculture. They don't know what's exactly happening with the health out there or education system or whatnot, because they are journalists. They know the something of everything out there. They're not specialized out there. And whenever the journalist operates a huge system out there, there will be every chance that it's going to be exploited by the people who are specialized in certain. So it's again a debate that's been there: journalist over specialized. Journalist over specialized. I hope you got this. What I'm trying to explain. I hope you got my point, got my idea over this. How system operates, how there's been inefficiency in the system out there, how corruption take place out there, how the bureaucracy is not that efficient for making of that resources in very appropriate manner out there. So again, it's not only corruption out there, it's a misutilization of tax money, and of course a fraud towards a taxpayer out there. I hope you got this point. Go on to the next session or next Now, what are the challenges of PDS? Quality and operational inefficiencies. So first of all, again, one of the major issues, major limitations or a bottleneck that's been there in a PD system is a poor grain quality. Poor grain quality. Sir, again, think about this. It's been food security system that's been there to help those who are downtrodden. And you are just offering them a, what you called, poor quality grain out there. Does it sufficient for hunger purposes? It does. It offers a solution to hunger, but it doesn't offer a solution to hunger. That's been used in economics. Poor grain quality. Poor grain poor grain quality. So think about this. You are serving the downtrodden people out there. You are listing them. You want to eradicate the hunger out there. But in order to eradicate the hunger out there, you are just offering a poor grain quality. Will it help to eradicate hunger? Yes, it will eradicate hunger out there. It will help to eradicate hunger out there. But sir, it will not be effective. Not be effective to eradicate. Not be effective to eradicate. To eradicate hidden hunger. To eradicate hidden hunger. What's hidden hunger? So this is the term that's been used by the Economic Survey 2 years back. What's hidden hunger? So when I talk about hidden hunger, it's about the deficiency of vitamins out there, deficiency of fats, deficiency of calcium. The deficiency of nutrients is called a hidden hunger out there. You may eradicate hunger by eating a lot of stuff out there, but how will you justify the deficiency? How will you justify the nutrient deficiency that's been there among the children out there? You have to give certain amount of good food, a nutritious food out there. That's again asked to give in the midday meal scheme as well. But is it operational? No, it's not. How are you going to treat that hidden hunger? By offering a good quality food out there, sir. By just offering a good quality food. By offering a poor quality food, you can eradicate hunger out there. You can eradicate hunger out there, but you can't eradicate the hidden hunger out there. That's been widely spread out there. Widely spread out there. And I give you an example and stats for this. As per certain reports, they have women in India. 50% of women are anemic. 50% of women are anemic. I mean, there has been an iron deficiency out there. Why there has been an iron deficiency out there? Not getting a appropriate food out there, not getting a nutritious food out there. That's a system. So government has to think about that. The policymakers has to think about that. That how we gonna eradicate this hidden hunger out there? That's been a major plague. That's been a major plague or a epidemic out there in India at this moment. Epidemic out there in India at this moment. I hope you got this point. That's one of the limitations of the PDS system. That's one of the limitations of a PDS system out there. What else? What else? Sir, delivery day, there has been FCI godowns. As I said that Food Corporation of India procure goods, MSP, and of course distribute it to the state agencies out there or fair price shops, all these stuff. But there has been a time gap between how when FCI procures and distributes it between. There's been a gap. So let's see. This is a market out there. If this is a market out, wheat, rice, wheat, rice, procured, procured, procured by the FCI, Food Corporation of India, by the FCI out there. But sir, time period, the time lag between procurement by the FCI and distribute it to the fair price shops or state agencies is problematic. It's really a problematic out there. Because where it gonna procure that all these stuffs of wheat and rice, and where it gonna stay it? I mean, how it will procure and of course handle this sort of stuff? There has been a large volume of wheat and rice out there. How it's gonna handle that stuff? Sir, of course they don't have too much of warehouses out there. There has been a limitations in the warehouses, or limited number of warehouses out there. Limited number of warehouse limited number of warehouse at there. So as a result, they how they're gonna keep a watch at this grains? They use cover and plinth method, and it's extremely inefficient out there. Cover and plinth. Must have seen that. You must have seen that in newspaper cuttings or out there in the media as well. Cover and plinth method is extremely inefficient out there. It is again, it is at risk. It is at risk when there is rain, storm, or any sort of other climate activities out there. For example, so if there is a lot of rain out there, cover and plinth won't be able to sustain that food grains out there. It will lead to a lot of loss out there. It will lead to a lot of food grain loss there. So cover and plinth, it's a major reason for the food loss. Major reason for the food loss. Food loss. If there has been a lot of food loss out there or grains loss out there, who's gonna feel the repercussions for that? Of course, sir, the poor one, because he's gonna get that at PDS. If there will be a shortage of supply of these food grains, who's gonna suffer? These people who are at the bottom of the pyramid out. Those who are at the bottom of the pyramid out there. These people are gonna suffer. These people are gonna suffer out there. So I hope you got this point out there. I hope you got this point out there. Let's move. Sorry, next out there. This is a point called insufficient storage. Insufficient storage leading to spoilage, especially during the monsoon season, and exacerbating food losses. Exacerbating is increasing food losses. And of course, as you know, it's a developing nation out there. Food has been difficult for them. Food is limited out there. People are many. It's a 150 crore population out there. There is not sufficient number of resources to fulfill each and everyone's hidden hunger and hunger out there. So if there will be a food loss out there, it will be a nation loss. It will be a true nation loss out. I hope you got this point. Delivery delays, averaging 52 from central stock to FSP, some state impacting timely access. Of course, there has been a delays out there as this has to, you can directly counter this, that it is the inefficiency of a bureaucracy out there, that it's lagging too much. The system is not seamlessly easy out there. It's difficult. It's difficult out there. Procure that and just put it into a FPS and carry out a PDS and targeted public distribution system. It's tough system out there. Requires a lot of specialized, lot of knowledge out there how to tackle this problem out. So I hope you got this. So I hope you got this point. Let's see how it operates. So what are the systematic weaknesses out there for PDS? What are the systematic PDS for system out there? So there has been a limited grievance redressal out there. No complaint box out there. People don't have too much of access for complaints. Citizen charter has not been applicable. Citizen charter has not been applicable. Again, grievances mechanism is already dead out there. When you talk about the government departments, out there, you won't get, I mean, there has been cases where people file RTI, people complain about things, but there is no solution for that. There has no been grievances for that. Why there has no grievances out there? Again, limited resources, limited efficiency, limited skill set of these government oriented people out there, and lack of empathy towards general public. These are certain cases where people feel, okay, why we have selected a government if they are not responsive to us, if they are not accountable to us? What's the reason for that? That's how thing works. That's how thing works. This thing again, grievances is just out there in the paper outfit, not in the practical system. Manual record keeping, again, many government officials doesn't know how to operate computer systems. They don't know how to handle MS Excel out there, PowerPoint, all these stuff out there. Again, it's a skill set deficiency out there. It's a skill set deficiency out there that's been the major reason why there has been so much of weaknesses out there. In spite of the good plan, it's a PDS is a very good plan out there, but the implementation is a pathetic. Implementation is all around a pathetic system out there. You got to believe that, okay, why there has not been implemented that effectively out there? It's because the people are not specialized in, certainly don't have that skill set to make a certain plan a huge success. A certain plan a huge. Last mile connectivity is another problem. Last mile connectivity is another problem. 10 to 15% of non-delivery to recipients in remote areas due to logistic challenge. Logistic challenge has again been dreaded. I mean, if you look at the India's logistic cost out there, it's 15% of the GDP. Whereas when you talk about the advanced economies, it's 5 to 6% out there. Why is there so much of logistic cost out there? There is so much of logistic cost out there because transportation is expensive. Diesel and oil, all these stuffs are expensive. Roads are not there. Proper roads are not there. That's why last mile connectivity is also a problem. That's why last mile connectivity also a problem out there. I hope you got these points out. I hope you got this thing. Now, there has been an international case study. There has been an international case study out there. There has been an international case study out there. That's Brazil's Zero Hunger. It's one of the most successful programs that's been there around the world. Trust me, it's a better than PDS out there. It's a better than any other program that's been there in the South Asian countries as well. It's a perfect out there. And Brazil, to some extent, is similar to India in terms of economy. Both are developing nations out there. Both have their own set of problems out there. Both have their own set of bottlenecks that need to be catered to. So yeah, everyone is doing that. And even Brazil has a decent number of population out there. Not exactly as China as India, but decent number of population. And a lot of people are there in the below poverty line as well. They are in the bottom of the pyramid right now. What's this stuff? Sir, it's a system where integrated food security was taken care of. Launched in 2013. It's been conditional cash transfers, that what we called a direct benefit transfer in India. Food banks, school meal programs, what we call a midday scheme. What we call a midday scheme. Schools, midday scheme. Midday scheme in a school. What's poverty reduction impact? So we have all this plan. We have a plan out there. It's been going on since ages in India. But is it a practical or is it efficient out there? No, it's not. Not at all efficient out there. When we talk about Brazil, efficient out there. It's efficient out there. So we have a plan, but a poor implementation. They have a plan, but they have a excellent implementation out there. Excellent implementation out there. It's been one of the major international case studies that even highlighted by the WHO out there, even highlighted and being praised by the several leaders of a different nation and being praised by the several leaders of a different nation out there. So what's this poverty reduction plan? The key component of this international case study, Zero Hunger program, approximately 14 million families significantly reduce extreme poverty by 28%. You can, of course, reduce poverty by 28%. You can use this international case study in your GS4 examination, in your GS1 as well, and 3. So just collect these, make a folder out there, put out 10-15 case studies, international case studies, and use them across your 4 papers. Use them across your 4 papers. That's how you're going to use your content out there. There is no point in collecting each and everything out there. You need to be smart out there to pick and choose what you're going to use in your examination. Just make a folder, make 15 certain international case studies and 15 national case studies, use them across your 4 papers, GS and your optional list. This is how you're going to do it. Again, the focus has been on a local procurement system. The program emphasized procuring food locally, strengthening small farmers. They directly deal with the small farmers. In case of MSP, this is not the case. We're going to discuss that MSP in an intensive manner. But again, understand, in MSP system, small farmers are not directly dealt with. There has been a lot of mediators out there that take the share of a small farmers, out there. Malnutrition reduction, and it's been the highlight of this program. As we have said that PDS has been successful in eradicating the hunger, but it's been unsuccessful while dealing with the hidden hunger. Hidden hunger term that's been used by the Economics Survey 2 years back. And what it says that, okay, you have been providing a lot of stuff out there, wheat, rice at subsidized rate. But what about the nutritional deficiency out there? How are you going to deal with that? That's where the problem is. That's where the problem is. And as I said, 50% of women are anemic in India right now. Why? Because there has been a nutritional deficiency. And it's a nutritional deficiency. It's a trap. It's a vicious cycle out there. It's a vicious cycle out there. How it's a vicious cycle? A vicious cycle. Let me give you a diagram for this. Now suppose this is a woman and she's facing extreme malnutrition. Extreme malnutrition. Now probably she will become pregnant in future. She will become a pregnant in future. Pregnancy. Deliver a girl. Again, extremely malnourished, undernourished woman will deliver a girl that will be undernourished. Again, at certain moment of time, she will grow up. She will become a pregnant as well, and she's gonna deliver another undernourished child out there. That's a vicious circle. Vicious cycle. Never gonna be replaced. There is no ending point to it. That's a vicious circle out there. Take an example. Now, this is a woman, this is a malnourished woman. 50% of Indian women are facing extreme malnourishment. It's an extreme malnourishment. She's going to be pregnant in future. Again, going to deliver a girl that will be malnourished. She will get pregnant in future. She will again give rise to a malnourished child out there. It's a vicious trap out there where there is no ending. So again, Brazil is doing extremely well out there in tackling with this hidden hunger out there. But India, there's a lot to be done. Again, the quality of foods in PDA system is being pathetic out there. Has certainly no place out there. It's just for filling your stomach out there, nothing else. It's not going to give you any sort of nutrition that's required for the human body to function effectively. Out there. Okay. What are the government policies? For PDS efficiency? What are they doing? What are they thinking about it? How they're going to reform it? The National Food Security has been there, Act, but again, a lot of need to be done. Aadhaar linkage has been, it's a great thing out there. Because if you link ration card with the Aadhaar, you're going to exclude that exclusion error and inclusion error. You're going to include who are complete beneficiaries out there. You're going to exclude who are just using this system to build their business out there. So that's how Aadhaar system or scanning system helps you to eliminate the inclusion error and exclusion error. Eliminate inclusion error and exclusion error. Exclusion error. Got this? Again, the One Nation, One Ration card implemented across 36 states UT, enabling profitability for approximately 80 crore NFFs. So One Nation, One Ration card, again, it has streamlined the process. Makes things simpler. Because if you're going to get into a lot of documentation out there, there will be a chance that a major breakthrough or bottleneck will be out there. But one system, one card will, of course, streamline the process out. Direct benefit transfer has been there. Eradicate the mediocre or broker out there in your transactions, to eradicate broker system out there or mediator or mediocre system out there in the system. That's a good thing that government have done in the recent time. But what's the way forward? What needs to be done more? It's a community participation. Gram Panchayat need to be, I would say, should be given more powers. Should be strengthened enough to see how FPS, fair price shops, function out there. Needs to be given a lot of powers to see whether there's sort of any leakages or not. How to address this system effectively. How to see whether person who is actual beneficiary getting the benefit of this or not. So Gram Panchayat need to be strengthened out there. Transparency needs to be improved. citizen charter, e-governance that need to be improved. Diversity of food basket to address hidden hunger, address hidden hunger out there. Strengthen supply chain. Supply chain needs to be, of course, logistic costs need to be come down. Gadkari Saab says that he's gonna do that in this year and that year, but it's not happening at this moment. Not happening. And because of the geopolitical tensions out there, the cost of oil has also been, there has been a supply side inflation out there. Supply side inflation. Address urban poor. Our focus is still on a rural sector out there, but you need to address a lot of people migrate to urban center for better livelihood, and there has been a lot of population that's been living in a disastrous conditions out there. Right at the condition that's been there in the industrial revolution. Poor state of conditioning, poor hygiene, no home, and a pathetic condition out there. That needs to be addressed again. Urban poor needs to be taken care of by the policymakers. So I hope you got all of these points. To address this question out there that's been asked by the UPSC. And again, this has been a good session out there, especially in terms of content out there. I'm not here to entertain or give you a jokes, here to discuss only what's been asked by the UPSC. We need to keep this as contact as we can, because that's how thing works. That's how thing works. If you're there for the entertainment, please go to another YouTube channel. If you're here for the content and knowledge, you're most welcome. Thanks for this. Good afternoon.